Are we set?
Yes.
Good morning, all. Welcome to the Parks O&M meeting. I need approval of the minutes for the previous meeting. Mr. McGowan? Mr. Bruno?
Nope, I'm sorry, Mr. Bruno's not on your.
No, who's that waving at me here?
I'm here.
Garrity.
Who is it?
Garrity.
Supervisor Garrity.
Kevin Garrity.
Oh, it's Kevin Garrity. Sorry, Kevin.
That's all right.
Even with glasses
You get no
on, I can hardly see.
respect.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
We'll move right into the action agenda for Kevin.
Yeah, we have no items on the action agenda for this month. We do have discussion items, and it's just kind of an update on the events for 2021. I believe I see the mayor on and Keith on. I have a list of the events that are coming. The mayor provided them to me, but I will let him get into them. I think one is the Oriental Shrine Circus. The other one's the Hardin Park at the Lake, which is a charity event. We have the Adirondack Jeep Invasion, as well as the International Cuisine Festival fundraiser, but I'll let the mayor talk about them a little bit more.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Can you hear me okay, Mr. Chairman?
Yep, we can hear you now. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, as Kevin spoke, we have a good lineup this summer. Hopefully, we can be optimistic. In working with Ryan, we've been classified basically as an outdoor entertainment venue, which means that with our previous capacity rating of approximately 3,500 people, we'll be able to do events with 1,040 people on site. And that seems to be acceptable to most of our venues right now that have signed up. We actually have 12 events scheduled. We are booked solid in June and September, which was our goal from the start, to expand our shoulder seasons. And the estimated revenue this year will be somewhere around $41,000 if all of these events are able to take place safely. The only discussion that I would like to open up would be a fee schedule for these. We've got had 2 or 3 not-for-profit events that involve the use of the festival space for a half a day. An example would be the application that we have presently by the the World Awareness Children's Museum in Glens Falls. They have an annual meeting that involves a fundraiser where people sample foods by various chefs from the area. And it was always held indoors. They'd like to do it outdoors at the festival space because they obviously believe that would be much safer. The event is scheduled just from 4 until 7 o'clock in the evening on a weeknight. And the tents can be put up very easily, the tent, prior to them arriving on that same day. And what they're asking is there a special charge for not-for-profits that use it in that manner for 1 half a day? We did have 2 there previously, which were quite similar. The one I remember specifically is the Glens Falls National Bank held their annual meeting at the site. And that was a 2-hour event, and it was a half a day. And at that particular time, we charged them $250. So I'd like to open it up for the committee to see if you would like to set a special fee for a not-for-profit county organization to use the festival space on a weekday or a Friday when we're not booked otherwise, obviously, and have a special fee for that particular use. So I'd like to ask the committee how they feel on that matter, Mr. Chairman.
All right, anyone have any suggestions on that? Mr. Dickinson.
Just a quick question. So you're thinking this fee should be $250, Bob, or what do you think of something else?
Well, that's what we've charged these two other events in the past. I know in talking to her that they'd be more than happy to do that. Obviously, they have some extra expenses doing the event outside, having to obviously hire a caterer, a tent, and all the tables and chairs that they ordinarily would have inside. So to make their event successful, she said it probably wouldn't be possible to pay the full fee of $1,500, but certainly the $250 would cover the cost of our attendant that needs to be there to keep the restrooms open and so on for that period of time. I would say for a half a day use, let's say 12 until maybe 9 in the evening, it probably wouldn't cover it. I'd say 500, but I know the village would be happy with $250 for a not-for-profit for an actual use that involves only 4 or 5 hours.
Any other comments?
I'll move that.
Dickinson?
I'll move that, Gene.
All right.
I have a question, Gene.
Yes, sir, Mr. Kevin.
I just think if we're going to do this, we ought to establish a fee schedule. And we ought to have a written fee schedule so we don't have to debate this, and we ought to use it for everybody in that category. I mean, it seems like they come up every now and then. If you want to figure a fee schedule based on the number of hours and what you think they're going to use, I'm okay with it, and I'm okay with not-for-profits. I think it's great. But I think we need to give the mayor some direction where he can go in every time and say, this is what it's going to be.
Ms. Hogan?
Yeah, I'd be happy, Mr. Chairman, to submit something at the next, at our next meeting that I think would be, acceptable to our committee and also the not-for-profits that might be interested in using it. This particular decision for them, they obviously need a decision on the cost today because of scheduling their event for this coming June. But I'd be glad to propose a separate fee schedule other than what we have presently for the $1,500 a day and the $500 for setup, as as Supervisor Garrity suggested.
If the committee had, sorry, it's Rachel.
Thank you. Hi, Mayor. Thank you very much. I think that it's so important we support our not-for-profits. It's just that as Supervisor Garrity just mentioned about a fee schedule, last fall we had a lot of discussions around not-for-profits utilizing the space and how much we wanted to support them. Mayor, I would just ask that our county attorney weigh in on this issue, as she did research last year around the light festival that Letizia did, that I thought she did an incredible job with that. But recognizing that we want to be able to support our not-for-profits, how can we make that happen while complying with the law and the recommendations previously from our county attorney?
Well, would the attorney like to talk about that?
I mean, I think the whole point was to do a fee schedule, which I think is what Kevin suggested.
Right.
And then you have a fee schedule that applies to everybody who's using the space. So I think we're on the right track.
Well, how about if we decide to take this offer, keep that for short-term people, and then go on and make the rest of them for the next meeting? So this way we can get this one passed if they need it right away. So that's up to the committee. Anybody have, Mr. McGowan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I agree. Mayor Blaze, thank you for bringing this to us. And I don't have a problem with the non-for-profit and moving quickly on this for this event so they can get it all scheduled. I was very pleased with the last one with the lights that for the you know, the Winterfest that came in. We've pulled it together. Just making sure we have all the safety procedures and everything in place is, you know, the most important thing. But no, I'm very pleased and thank you for bringing this to us.
Chairman,
Yes.
thank you so much. I think this is a good idea to support these not-for-profits. I know in the past, the Lake George Land Conservancy has tried to use the land too, and we had some, you know, concerns about what we were charging them, and especially with the recent Lights Festival. I can't remember what we ended up charging her, based on the advice that we couldn't provide gifts to people. So I just want to be sure that we're following our past practices. I love the idea of putting in place a fee schedule.
Kevin?
I'm not sure. I want to say I think it was significantly reduced for the lights, the Christmas tree lights. I agree with this, and I know Mary's had some trepidations in the past about, you know, we can't give something to somebody without giving it to everybody else. But Mary, correct me if I'm wrong. If we establish a fee schedule based on these individual groups, then there's no issue with that.
Yeah, so we have to have an established fee so people signing up know exactly what they're paying, know exactly what they're getting. Everyone's getting the same thing. But I thought we have already addressed this issue. I thought we had a half-day fee schedule. I thought that was the whole point of past meetings.
Kevin?
I believe we did. And Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was a $500 for a half-day schedule. Or actually, I think it was half price. It was $750.
I'm not aware of that, but it could very well be. I don't recall charging anyone $750 for half a day, but if that's what it is, I'm sure that may still be acceptable. The only fees that we've ever dealt with was the reduced fee for the event last winter, which I agree was the committee just set that. That was a reduced fee. Other than that, all we've had is the $1,500 for a day and $500 for setup day. To my knowledge, that's the only fees that we've been working with, except for the, as I say, the Glens Falls National Bank. And I think the Lake George Land Conservancy, we did discuss a smaller fee. I'm sure that the World Awareness Children's Museum will be pleased with any fee that's reduced from what the $1,500 was.
Mr. Moore, I see your hand up.
Yes, sir. Would it be worthwhile for us to look into when we do settle on a fee schedule for this year? We have a full day fee, half day fee, and then maybe a separate nonprofit fee.
Yep. I think that's a good idea. I think we all can like that idea. So maybe we, Mr. Mayor, you and I can get together, or a couple other members, and come up with an idea of a fee for the next meeting. But go ahead and do this one here that you need today.
Certainly. Yep.
All right, with everybody.
Mr. Moreno, the only thing I would say, if you're going to set the fee at $250, then that's going to be an established fee
For not-for-profit.
for quarter of a day or whatever you do.
For not-for-profit. We'll emphasize that. Then we'll come up one for half a day for non-for-profit.
You can't distinguish between them like that. That's the whole.
Oh, you can't? Then we're really going to have to discuss that because it makes a big difference. But it's up to the committee.
I'm relatively certain we have a fee schedule. Like, I would almost bet money on it.
Kramer?
Thank you, Chairman. I guess I would ask the county attorney to see if she could find it and be able to have that for the committee.
Now?
Well, not right now. That's
Right.
Was this on the?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mayor.
I would suggest if we're setting a precedent for this particular event that we set the fee at $500, not $250. I think we obviously need the revenues. I would say a half a day. What I would propose going forward would be a half a day, not-for-profit, $500, not $250. So if we're going to set the fee for them today, because they really need to know what it's going to be, then I would suggest 500.
Mr. Bruno?
Thank you, Chairman. I think you need to define what a half a day is. In other words, 4 hours, 6, that's just a suggestion. Thank you.
Well, do we have that, Mr. Mayor, defined? Because I have down here 4 to 7 that they wanted. And what, we had another one, I don't remember, I don't have it in front of me, what we did for a half a day, time-wise. Do you remember, Mr. Mayor?
No, I don't, but it would be a fee similar to a setup day. I remember when we established that fee for a setup day, it was because, again, they may not be there the whole day setting up. They may be there the whole day, and then obviously it does block us from running the field to anyone else. But that there would not going to be any large attendance coming in. There'd be no parking, so on and so forth. But I don't know any other way we could establish that. If you think about a half a day, it's going to be very difficult to use the field for any other use. Presuming you're not going to be able to rent it to 2 different events for half a day. So I think we're talking about 1 day use, not for profit. I think that's what we're really talking about. Regardless of, we still have to have an attendant there prior to the event, still has to be there after to clean the restrooms, help them with their refuse. We still have to put out the necessary cans for them and so on. So I think we're talking, there should be no such fee as half a day. They use it 1 day, not for profit. That should be the fee we're talking about.
There you go.
No. Any other suggestions or agreement?
500, you're saying?
Kevin, did you have your hand up before?
I did. I'm kind of in agreement with Mary. I believe we did set a half-day fee already. We have had reduced fees out there before. I believe when there was a skateboard event, we had a reduced fee for them as well. The fact of the matter is, as most of you recall from last year, with the maintenance and upkeep that we do on the Charles R. Wood Park, basically the revenue that is received from these events needs to cover that cost. So, Mayor, I'm not that I vote necessarily on what the fee schedule should be. My only concern is that, just you, in fact, talking about the attendance right there, we need to make sure that we cover that cost. I don't believe anybody wants me to come back to the county at the end of the year and ask for funds to be taken out of the fund balance to cover the extra expenses that we had on the Charles R. Wood Park.
Mr. Ryan?
Resolution 222 of 2019 was adopted May 17th, 2019. It's resolved that the event fees for events held at the Festival Commons at Charles R. Wood Park are listed as follows. Festival Commons use $1,500 per day. Additional setup days, $500 each. Additional recover tear down days, $500 each. Security deposit, $500, returnable approximately 14 days after cleanup of the event. Morning use, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., $500 per day.
Ms. Seaver?
Thank you. Mayor, I think what happened last fall last winter really highlighted the need to look at that resolution and update some of those fees. I know Supervisor Merlino said he had supported that at the time. And so I think it's a timely discussion. And I would ask that our county administrator, county attorney, and Kevin Hajos work with Supervisor Merlino to come up with a proposal that would update that 2019 resolution. And also some additional research might be warranted to look at, as Kevin Hajos mentioned, we have done reduced fees in the past with particular groups. Maybe we do need to relook at that not-for-profit section and see if there's anything at all that we can do to assist, since it's a joint collaboration. But I think more work needs to go into it, and certainly want to help in any way we can.
All right, I think that's more we have to do, and I think we'll stick with Mayor, just asked us for $500 for this one that we have to do today, and use that as a standard, and then go back and do a couple of changes. But I think what Mr. Moore just presented to us, maybe we should stick with that. That sounds pretty good, but I'd like to really look into it a little more.
That's fine. So we're comfortable with the $500 for this event. Is that correct?
Is anybody against that?
Nope.
All right, so do I have a motion to go ahead with the $500 for this one event? Mr. McGowan? Anybody else? Mr. Dickinson? Second? Any more comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. And we'll look into it and definitely have more information by the next meeting.
Mr. Chairman, we do have another item for discussion, which I'll turn over to Keith. I'm sure that Kevin also saw the recent inspection done by Warren County Water and Soil Conservation of the wetlands property, and pointed out that there's a very serious problem with dogs. Not really with the dogs, but with the owners of dogs. And it needs to be addressed. We're starting to get some complaints on other people that are walking through the property, and I'll let Keith discuss that a little bit.
Good morning. Kevin, did you get that report from Jim, I assume?
I did. And if you would like me to talk about it a little bit, I can. There were a few issues on the south parcel, which is our environmental. One of the issues was they see some sediment coming in, but Jim Lieberman and I spoke about it. Warren County DPW is going to assist them with some of that sediment coming in. I think it's just replacing or rebuilding some of the rocks in the inlet to the first pond. Some of the other things they noticed was there's some soil cracking next to one of our catch basins. I think that's more so from a plow in that area. I mean, Jim had originally thought that there might have been some type of water seepage into the sub base, or possibly maybe a cracked structure of pipe or something. But we've looked at it. It's not that. I think it was just the way the soil's moving and with plowing during this winter. The final thing is Mayor touched on that there has been a significant, and when I say significant, you probably have to tiptoe around the past to avoid any of the dog feces that's around that park. Not just feces that somebody hasn't picked up. It's also the bags being left all over as well. I spoke with Jim Lieberman yesterday. We're actually going to do kind of a volunteer day to clean up the park. But I'm not sure, unless we had some type of enforcement or something, how you stop that from happening. We can educate people. We can put the bags out there and have them clean up, but then they just use the bags and throw the bags on the ground. Keith, I'm not sure if you have any other suggestions.
Well, kind of an extreme one. I mean, should we be posting signs that say no dogs allowed in that area? I know it's a kind of a Forever Wild location there, but is that going to be the fix, the more practical fix? People are not going to like it. But what we're seeing right now is not any more likable. So I just was curious if that would be something we should look into. Some signage, and how you're going to monitor it or regulate it, I don't know. But trying to eliminate the problem at on the onset. So I don't know if that's something that the board would think about doing, or.
Kevin, you have a suggestion?
Well, do we have a station there for people to get the bags to pick up?
There's three. I believe there's 3 stations on that parcel.
In the station,
doggy pot stations with the receptacles. During the winter, we don't. The town actually has their garbage cans alongside Westbrook on their side. They're not there during the winter, so that could be part of the problem as well. But we do have doggy pot stations on location. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they work well in Warrensburg. We have a lot of them out, and
Yeah. Yep.
we get a lot of complaints about it, but wow.
Okay.
Mr. McGowan?
Is this due to, I mean, is this a year-round thing, or is it just because all the snow melted? As we most know, pet owners there, usually in the spring in our front yards, we're like, whoo, that's a lot. And, you kind of forget every day. So, is it a year-round thing, or is it just now?
Well, obviously, because of the snow recently melting, it is going to be more predominant during this time of the year. But we've seen the issues, and Jim has brought it up. Jim Lieberman has brought it up in the past reports. Middle of the summer, same scenario. Maybe not as drastic, but it's still there.
So if we post signs, the whole thing is you can put all the signs up you want. You can put $1,000 sign, and I hate to say it, but maybe we should post up some signs that this, it is the owner's responsibilities. Please do not do that, or this opportunity would be shut down. I don't know how to handle that, and you don't want to pay someone, to work day and night there to sit there and monitor it all. So.
Hey, Joseph.
I have to agree with Mr. McGowan, but I wouldn't get excited as he was, is what I find in my front lawn every year either. The bottom line is, and most of you who use our bike path will notice the same thing. It happens on our bike path all the time, and we are signed on the bike path for no dogs. Yet you can ask any supervisor who's walked the bike path. We have to continually ask people to remove their dog from the bike path. We can put the signs up if that's what we choose, but I don't think people will follow them, and it's really hard to monitor that park. We don't have neither the village, the town, or myself have somebody stationed there to make sure that people are throwing away their dog waste, not leaving litter. In the summer months, as Keith said, Jim has found it in the summer months probably not as bad, but then again in the summer months we find more child diapers and things like that out there as well. We can put up signs, but again, it may be a moot point because again, I have them on my bike path and they don't follow them on the bike path as well.
That's all you had, though.
No, I got one more topic.
Any other comments? Mr. Ryan?
I have just a follow-up comment on the Wood Park fees whenever it's appropriate, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. That initial resolution 222 from 2019, it was amended on 161 in 2020 to reduce all those fees by 50% for the remainder of the year in recognition of COVID.
Right.
And then there was one further resolution towards the end of the year. That was resolution 413. So what we're going on then is a half of the 1,500 down to 750. Resolution 415 allowed the one event really that we were able to schedule, which was the holiday lights, allowed a reduction in the fee from the 750 down to 250. So that's where all of those numbers were just previously mentioned in the conversation. That's how it all shook out.
But that was just the remainder of the year, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
So the resolution that halved the fees, if you will, for COVID stipulated that the rates under 222 of 2019 would go back into effect for 2021.
All right. Thank you for that info.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one more topic real quick. Actually for Kevin, are we going to continue the playground area at the Wood Park closed, which we have had for almost a year now? If for this upcoming season, if we are, that's fine. I did indicate in the past we've got some of the playground features that are becoming dilapidated and possibly dangerous. And there's other maintenance that should be done as well. But I just was curious if what direction the board would want to go in. Are we going to maintain it closed currently, or into the season, or what your thoughts are on that?
Kevin?
So what Keith is referring to is last year when COVID started, we closed Charles R. Wood Park. It was closed in its entirety because we or the village or the town could not go out there on a daily basis and clean the playground area at the park. We set up a bunch of hand wash stations and things like that out there. I'm not opposed to opening up that area, but again, there's no way that I have the staff or the village has the staff, which in turn, if we're not getting the revenues on the park, will be a tough thing to cover that cost to be able to go out there every day and clean those. But I guess I will look to Ryan on this one and ask our county administrator, other playgrounds are opening up. Thoughts on this? I mean, we do have the wash stations out there. But I don't have the staff, and I don't believe the village does that to kind of wipe things down day in and day out down there.
Well, that's kind of been the issue. Playgrounds, as a technical matter, have been open since last summer, but open under those restrictions of social distancing and sanitation and all of that. I think you'll find a lot of the municipal parks for that reason. Maybe not a lot of them, but I'm aware of certain municipal parks have been taped off. And that's where the challenge comes in, is how do you do the enforcement?
Mr. McGowan?
I'd say put up a sign. Sorry.
Ms. Bramer?
I say open the playground. Let it be open. We'll figure it out.
Got Mr. Garrity down there again?
Yeah, I agree. Open the playgrounds and let the folks using the playground follow the rules. I mean, they understand all this COVID stuff. So if you're going in there and you use it, if you can want to use it, and if you don't want to use it, you won't use it. But you got to let the kids outside and do something.
I agree.
All right, Ms. Seaver?
Yes, I would agree with that. I think that there must be a way for us to, even if it's just some basic cleaning supplies, hand sanitizer, whatever, right out there. But we can also ask groups, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever, if they want to come in and volunteer to do a one-time cleanup, whatever it might be. But I think there's lots of volunteers, and I know I'd go volunteer to help clean it. I know a lot of us would. I'm open.
And safe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You're talking about cleaning things up, and this, I'll bring up a couple of things. I spoke about this a few meetings ago. There is no science that I'm aware of. In fact, there's some that refute how long the virus lives on a surface and different surfaces, metal, plastic. I don't know if that's such a concern. Just as this mask, there's no standard for these masks, and I don't want to get into that, but it was never established the efficacy of these things. So I think I would recommend opening up the park, and if people want to feel better about wiping it down, let them wipe it down.
Absolutely.
But again, there's no science that I'm aware of that says that people come in and quote contaminate something that 5 minutes later there's any virus there or anything else. So just my 2 cents for what it's worth. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Kevin?
So I'll just add, I'm in agreement with that as well. I think the park should be open. And I know that we did not do anything in that park last year. We kept it closed. I think there was probably a lot of maintenance work that needed to be done. Keith, you can jump in here, but they normally do the weeding and cleaning of the shrubs and things around there and pruning, and a lot of that stuff wasn't done that year. So what I would propose, Keith, is not just the village staff do that this year, that we will assist you with DPW staff, Parks and Rec staff to help you, so that it reduces any labor on your guys' side, which in turn will be an expense to the park. So we are more than willing to assist you with that. You just reach out to me and I will make sure that my staff are down there whenever you would like to do that. As far as there's still an inspection that Keith and I have to do on some of the equipment out there. He is correct. There are some deterioration somewhere, not a lot. Mainly the tree, the trees that we took in from Canada when we built the park, which were very large trees that the kids can climb over. They're starting to see some deterioration. So Keith, we can definitely look at those and see what we need to do with those.
Okay. And there are some other, subjects that came up since we've kind of looked at that before, Kevin. Pretty much the whole area of the playground was always bedded with wood chips as part of the original design and the construction. In the years that have come by now, that the chips have dissipated and biodegraded and so on. So that's one of the more. There's actual trip hazards and things caused by lack of the chips. So that would be one of the expenses of actual materials that should be purchased. And we can still do the application, obviously. But just so the board knows that there are some items that will need to be purchased.
And depending on what we want to use for chips, I have plenty of those in my Tony pit up in Warrensburg that we could use.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Kevin, maybe we can work with them on, you can work with them on that stuff, keep the price down. We'll hope we have a good year this year and we'll have some more finances that we can keep that park up the way it's supposed to be. I mean, last year we lost a lot of the events and lost a lot of the income, but we're hoping this year, and it looks like it is the way the mayor's been booking, that we'll probably at least break even on anything that we do. And that's what we're really looking for. About the dogs and stuff, I have to leave it up to the committee. I can't. I don't personally think you can ban dogs because it starts to get hard feelings. I went through that a couple of years ago in my town. All of a sudden, you get an awful lot of hard feelings, but that's local residents. Here you have tourism that people coming in probably be doing more of that than the local people. But these are things we have to discuss. Is there any more comments on that stuff? Mr. McGowan?
Oh, yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with that. I've been thinking of the best way to handle that. And, every dog owner knows the responsibility out in public is, to take after your dog or take after your child. And it really hurts to hear that, people change their kid's diaper right on the side of the road and they just, leave it there. And, you're going to get those. But, maybe we can, run some ads in like the Penny Saver or, some of the other magazines of the Chronicle. Maybe we could, pull something up in there that, just a reminder of the pet's responsibility or a reminder sign at either side of the responsibilities of people. I don't know. Like I said, you could put up all the signs. People aren't going to obey and read them. The best thing to do is probably just have some trail cameras and, and just catch them in the act. And, but then, like I said, it's just to enforce her. And it's a shame that we have to actually bring this up and discuss it at the meeting. So, but if I see something happening driving down the road, I'll definitely roll down my window and say something for the
Well, we can have carry in and carry out signs.
Right.
All right. Anything else? Mr. Mayor, have anything else for us?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Kevin, how about you?
The last thing we had on there is referral and pending items for the tiki wall. I said that as soon as spring came around, I would contact Supervisor Dickinson as well as Supervisor Merlino, and we would go out there and take a look at that and see if we can reach some agreement with the owner of the tiki to get the wall fixed. And that's all I have.
Let's move to privilege of the floor. Anybody have anything else? Mr. Lehman, is there any comments on YouTube?
Not at this time, Chairman Merlino. Thank you.
How about a motion to adjourn?
I move it.
Mr. Garrity, I can't see all the way down there. Mr. Garrity. All right. Brad, you second it? All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? We're closed. Thank you. Good conversation.